Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat pagi. Pertamanya, saya mengucapkan selamat datang kepada semua peserta webinar My Credential siri kedua. Untuk makluman, siri pertama telah kita adakan pada tahun lepas pada 4 September 2020 dan kini kita susulkan dengan webinar My Credential siri kedua dengan kombinasi panel yang sama. Okey. Dan on behalf MPA juga ingin merakapkan ucapan terima kasih kepada semua peserta yang hadir pada hari ini. Kalau mengikut sesi pendaftaran, peserta yang mendaftar dengan MPA berjumlah 1,000 lebih. Dan untuk makluman, sesi ini akan direkodkan dan ia juga boleh ditonton semula di laman YouTube MQA channel. So kalau mana-mana yang terlepas sesi ini boleh refer kepada MQA channel dan sebagainya. So dalam masa yang sama, memandangkan kapasiti webinar ini hanya maksimum 500 peserta. So peserta yang akan attend this webinar akan be directly to MKA YouTube channel lah. So maknanya masih lagi ada ruang untuk peserta-peserta untuk mendengar sesi ini. Okey. Okay, bersama kita pada hari ini adalah saya rasa panel yang tidak asing lagi, iaitu Yang Berusaha Dr. Hazman Shah Abdullah dan merupakan seorang panel expert on QA. Okey, Prof Hazman melambat. Okay, diikuti oleh Yang Berusaha Prof Dr. Abdul Karim alias daripada USM. Okey. Kedua-dua mereka adalah merupakan panel pakar di dalam pembangunan DGP Micro Credential yang telah dibangunkan oleh MPA. Okey. Untuk seterusnya, untuk agenda, saya rasa agenda ringkas pada hari ini, kita akan mulakan sesi pembentangan kita dengan Prof Hazman dahulu. Beliau akan membentangkan Micro Credential bertajuk Turn Your Program into Veritable Buffet. So secara ringkasnya, Prof Hazman akan membentangkan penggunaan untuk melihat semula dasar-dasar dan polisi Micro Credential yang telah dibentangkan pada siri yang pertama, tetapi lebih tertumpu kepada isu-isu pelaksanaan Micro Credential di dalam pelaksanaannya oleh institusi. Okay, seterusnya, pembentangan selama 40 minit. So selepas itu dia akan disusuli oleh pembentangan oleh Prof Dr. Abdul Karim alias kenaan how to get start. So actually Prof Karim akan membincangkan berkenaan bagaimana nak how to convert your academic program to the Micro Credentials. Okay. Untuk sesi seterusnya, kita akan di akhir sekali kita ada sesi Q&A. So lebih kurang dalam 11.30. Dan akan berakhir pada pukul 12. So hopefully untuk sesi Q&A diminta pada peserta dapat impas kod atau klik pigeonhole link yang kita sediakan di slide dan juga link-link di Q&A atau chat yang mana sekiranya peserta ada sebarang soalan boleh ditulis di link tersebut dan kita akan paparkan soalan-soalan ini di akhir sesi pembentangan kedua, selepas sesi pembentangan Prof Karim lah. Maknanya soalan-soalan itu kita akan mula baca pada di akhir sesi lah. So diharap kepada peserta yang mempunyai soalan ataupun pandangan dapat menulis di link tersebut dan kita akan paparkan soalan tersebut setelah berakhirnya sesi kedua. Okey. Seterusnya, saya ucapkan selamat datang juga kepada mungkin ada peserta-peserta yang kali pertama hadir pada hari ini dan mungkin masih lagi tidak mengetahui tentang Micro Credential. Sebagaimana sedia maklum, pada tahun 2020, MQA telah meluluskan pemakaian garis panduan amalan baik Micro Credential yang bertujuan membenarkan penawaran khusus secara pecahan lebih kecil daripada program yang telah mendapat akreditasi atau khusus stand alone yang ditawarkan secara Micro Credential bagi tujuan mendapatkan perangguhan kelaikan akademik. Penawaran khusus secara Micro Credential ini akan memberi impak yang positif ke atas sistem pendidikan tinggi negara dan akan memberi peluang kepada individu terutama yang bekerja untuk meningkatkan keperluan spesifik yang diperlukan oleh pihak industri dalam tempoh yang singkat serta mampu menutup jurang kemahiran skill gaps yang disebabkan oleh perkembangan teknologi dan pengetahuan masa kini yang sangat pantas. Sehubungan itu, pihak MQA telah mengeluarkan satu surat makluman MQA bilangan 8/2020 bertarikh 10 Ogos 2020 kepada semua PPT berkenaan pelaksanaan MC. Okey. Sehubungan itu, berdasarkan surat makluman tersebut, pihak PPT yang telah ataupun akan melaksanakan program secara MC daripada program-program yang telah mendapat akreditasi diminta untuk membuat pemakluman kepada MQA bagi tujuan rekod dan semakkan semula ataupun verifikasi semasa proses akreditasi. So pemakluman tersebut boleh dibuat melalui pautan borang yang telah disediakan di portal MQA. So borang permohonan tersebut perlu diisi berdasarkan program. So maknanya kalau ada 2 program, so ada 2 submission, ada 3 dan seterusnya lah. Okey. Sedikit saya berkongsi tentang data statistik semasa pendaftaran atau pemakluman Credential kepada MQA. So berdasarkan tahap program, kita sekarang ni telah menerima 131 program. So maknanya berdasarkan khusus ada 808 khusus yang telah ataupun akan dilaksanakan secara micro credentials, dan data ini adalah sehingga 12 Mac 2021. So dimohon kepada semua PPT sekiranya ingin atau melaksanakan program MC boleh memajukan pelaksanaan tersebut kepada MQA melalui pautan yang diberikan di portal. Sekali lagi saya ucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada semua peserta yang hadir pada sesi webinar kali ini. Saya tanpa melengahkan masa, saya ingin mempersilakan pembentangan pertama oleh Prof. Azman Syahullah untuk membentangkan pembentangan beliau yang bertajuk Turn Your Program into Veritable Buffet. Sekian, dipersilakan Prof.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my screen ke screen saya. Just a moment, let me go. Just bear with me, it takes a few seconds to get it working. Okay. Is the slide visible?
Yeah, I can see.
You can see. Okay, okay. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I hope you can hear me too. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very, very good morning. And salam mesra, wherever you are from, whether you are an individual who has attended this before or you are new, you're welcome to this forum. We have a tag team with my partner, Prof. Karim. So I will walk you through this 8 points, if you like, for the next 40 minutes or so. Give you a little bit of context. As they say, a lot of text without a context doesn't help. So give you a little bit of context of where is this coming from, what's happening around us, and why is this happening now, and why are we talking about this, and in this forum and many other fora before this, and probably a lot more to come. And some things to do with how they progress and some classifications we are using in the GGP in trying to address this, and also looking at the ways you can start approaching the MCs for those HEP, higher education providers, and also MQA's offer for those who are not looking at their accredited programs, but they are looking at coming up with a standalone type of MC. What can you do to try and make sure there is confidence and trust in your micro-credentials, even though they are not part of an accredited program. What can you do? And there's an offer by MQA to quality assess and also to give you a quality mark that can be used to not only market but also to tell the rest that yours is follows a set of guidelines to ensure it's fit for purpose. And the last part, I wouldn't go too much into this. I think Prof. Karim will be going in detail to this, but just give you a quick overview. There are some slides there. You might want to read it at your own leisure. Okay, let me now take you to, this is what I plan to do, a little bit about genesis and the value and the importance we are attaching. What are the key policies in GGP, some categorization of, and also the way forward. As usual, let's start with, there's a lot of information there out there. If you Google, you can get a lot of information on the internet about QA. I thought it was important to try and set this, set the stage by looking at this, and then as we proceed, and I'm sure every one of you will make up your mind. That's okay with me. There's a lot of questions asked. Is this going to replace my degree, my master's, my PhD, my diploma, my certificate, things like that? Not yet. It's a powerful way to stay qualified, not only in a point in time or point in your life, but also to stay qualified continually. You know, you're talking about lifelong learning, right? So we are not at the point where this is a substitute for formal qualification, but certainly it has the potential sometime in the future to be just that, right? We are on that road. And micro-credentialing is not about all the batches and that you give. There's a lot of information in the internet about all these digital batches, things like that. Those are carriers of the information about a micro-credential, you know, who and what learning and how it was delivered and so on and so forth. So that is, so there's a lot of excitement around badging. They need to be part of a suite of things that makes the micro-credential more portable, better verification, better authentication. But that itself is not the MC they're talking about. And micro-credentials are not all about job skills. You know, job skills has filled the air nowadays. Everyone is talking about skills, 21st century skills, and even beyond. But a lot of MCs are also about fun stuff, right? Stitching, knitting, cooking, baking, gardening, drawing, you know, playing music. So there's a lot of, there's a whole array of things that micro-credentials are coming in, not only to provide exposure, but also to provide some form of certification that you have achieved a certain level of competence, knowledge, mastery. And micro-credential is not just about unbundling degrees, but that's one of the things that we're going to talk about here. But it can also become a way to rebundle degrees, right? Not just unbundle, take a degree apart and offer it in different pieces, but also take from micro-credentials from all over the place, you know, from MOOCs, from universities, from training providers, and try to bundle it using a framework. You already got a degree, you know, and trying to fit it into and bundle it into a degree. So it's not just about unbundling, but also rebundling. And the last one, everyone associates micro-credentials with the MOOCs. Yeah, they popularize it, but micro-credential can be done by anyone, not just MOOCs. It can be done online. It can also be done offline, conventional means as well. Right? So some things just to get, again, we have talked about, will this replace? Not yet. It won't supplant your degree, but it can make your degree much more powerful through this open up access, and also make your students can have access to other micro-credentials, which can become complementary to your program, can make them more employable and so on. So a little bit of our history. Okay, the idea of micro-credentials and unbundling of degree is not new. It's very old, 50, 60 years old. It has been talked about before. So not new, but suddenly there's newfound interest because of many things, ecosystem coming together, right? If you look at MOOCs, that's one part of the ecosystem that has used micro-credentials. the concept of micro-credentials to really stake their claim in the education arena, and including also in higher education arena. They're becoming more prevalent. And especially with the pandemic, they have picked up by some measure close to 100 over million learners during the pandemic. I think Coursera itself has picked up something over 70 million during that period. Unique learners, not just, but they also people who have signed up for more courses. So unique learners about 70 million, but in terms of cost-wise, the number for MOOCs, I was told it's about 500 million learners during the pandemic. So it's a big thing, and they are a big player in this, and these are some of the micro-credentials they've offered, and some of these are already been trademarked. Nano degrees, micro-masters are trademarked. So they're very popular credentials now in the market with employers and also with many universities, right? In UK, US, and also in Latin America, China, India now looking at these things. So they can become integrated into existing masters and qualifications. So it's spreading. That's just to tell you, it's taken off in a big way. But micro-credentials do come with challenges, right? And what are the challenges? There's a lot of question about who is giving this, who is looking at this, how do you regulate them, what do we know about them, what do we know about their motives, what do we know about the design, what do we know about how they go about developing this. So there's a lot of question among policymakers and also global bodies involved in promoting higher education like UNESCO. There's a lot of questions, so it's becoming like a jungle out there. Certainly we need more information so that we can actually benefit from this and not get confused, and it may take much longer. So there's a lot of providers, so there's a lot of issue. How do we verify the learning? How do we authenticate the learner? Where do we go? Right? This is where the digital batches are coming in, and how can this often very unique and very current and very skills-oriented MCs, how can they actually be absorbed integrated into formal qualifications, which a lot of employers are industry complaining doesn't have enough job skills, right? So how can we actually bring them inside and make it into a more palatable buffet, right? Or palatable set menu. So many of them are set menu, right? And right now we don't have a taxonomy to understand MCs. There's not even a common definition. So everyone is looking at how can we define. So what has happened since to try and address these challenges that's happening around the region? Let me give you around the region what's happening so that you can understand the GGP and MQA's work as well. New Zealand 2019 recognized this and actually is regulating it. And probably New Zealand is the only one in the world that is actually strictly, formally, and quite actively regulating it. They have come up with policies that says it can be only this many credits, it must be at this level. They're talking about bachelors, and they cannot duplicate, right? And they must be, so they are quality assured by the agency, right? Like any other program, quality assured so that there's no confusion, no doubt about the value. And because of this, it's easy to integrate into degrees, master's, diploma, the level that they are allowing them to do. So this is quite unique on one extreme. In Europe, providers are getting together, especially the non-higher education providers, the non-traditional providers like Future Learn. So they're coming together and said, okay, let's sort this out for our own benefit and also for the benefit of learners and also employers and other users. Can we look at a framework, right? If this thing grows without a framework, it just becomes a chaotic jungle. We don't even understand what are the trees, what are the undergrowth, what are the creepers. So try to establish a framework. So this is more normative. There's no government behind it. There's no power of the state behind it. This is just groups of people came together, providers, and then said, I think we should have this if we want to create a system and order and also better recognition. So they did come up with, okay, it should be at this level in a European framework, it should be this many hours of learning. It should try and relate to European credit transfer system and verification, and provide a lot of information through the batches or transcripts, so that everyone can really understand. So it becomes a bit more transparent. So this qualification becomes transparent, and transparency is necessary for confidence building, trust, together with verification, authentication. So they have come up with this. Most recently, Europe, this is a broader Europe, and it is more of a government-related, EU-related document coming out of the European Commission. So they also recognize that the whole of Europe, especially at the governmental level or at higher education level, need to actually look into this. And some of the things that they said is already was in the earlier document, need to have a common definition, transparent definition, quality assurance, and so on and so forth. So EU is also waking up to this. You can see the number of webinars have increased in the last 1 year on this. There is great interest. Universities want to know, QA bodies want to know, university curriculum designers want to know. Is it worth my time investing in developing this, looking at this? So there's great interest. Australia in 2019 or 2020, this survey, among the universities, there's tremendous interest in going micro-credential. The government is talking about micro-credential during this period. So now put in money for micro-credentials. For those who are unemployed, need to be re-employed or go into different careers, they said, okay, we are not asking them to go and take another degree or another diploma, another master's, but give them targeted short-term, not more than 6 months courses, so that they can actually retool, get reskill, and then move into other areas, at least for the interim period, if not, something that is lasting. So it's happening around us, right? And I think you're all familiar with open learning. And Adam, there's a service offered here, but there's also a service in Australia, and open learning is actually built their new business model around micro-credentials. And in Australia, micro-credentials are now already being mentioned in the framework, the national qualification framework called Australian qualification framework. It's already mentioned, although it's not regulated. I mean, you don't have to apply to anyone to get permission and things like that. But there is a call for the universities to provide pathways for people with micro-credentials into their programs. So it's like credit transfer coming into programs. If they've done this, these are short, small courses, assessed and can be verified. So there should be. So it's already in the framework. Previously, the framework was silent. So everywhere you can see it's taking notice. So the ecosystem is coming together. In short, that's the main point. The ecosystem is coming together. A lot more people are offering it. A lot more value, a lot of variety, and there is a lot of interest not only in offering new micro-credentials to around formal qualifications, but also to look at formal qualification and say, how can you actually unbundle this formal qualification in micro-credentials? It can look like a redesigning effort. The other one is actually expanding access. Your formal qualification is to people from school, they're working, they come into and take a set menu. What about those who want to take just some dishes only that they like? They don't want the whole set menu, right? Some dishes. Will you offer that as well? More of a buffet. You may take. So it's a buffet with multiple plans, right? 1 dish, 2 dishes, and so on and so forth. So this is coming together. That's why we are here talking up. So, and a lot of HEPs, higher education providers, universities and colleges, who normally look at formal qualification as a package, looking at established markets, and now also looking at this as, so that's where it's all coming together. So what do we need to do to try and provide micro-credentials a place in higher education, in training? So as we saw earlier, we need some framework to provide some order, some system, some organization, so that people can really understand it. What people don't understand, people either dismiss it or they become quite doubtful, right? So you need to provide some framework. Right now, there are no one standards or standards that apply to this. So if you can create some standards, some benchmarks, some guidelines, that will help as part of the framework. We need to develop trust in providers. Some of the providers are not traditional universities or colleges. They are alternative providers, we call it. Could be training, could be institution, could be foreign, could be local. So we don't know them. We don't have a trusted way of knowing about them, and therefore these things are not really recognized in the program. MOOCs is a good example, right? Many universities still have a problem with recognizing MOOCs courses because we don't know what they're doing, we don't know how they're doing, we do not know about the assessment, and so on and so forth. We don't even know whether the learners are actually the learners. So you have to provide some, and also record, right? The transcripts, the digital batches is a problem. So does it carry enough information for people who want to integrate, want to recognize it, or evaluate these things? And then also, are there conventions? You know, this is not just within the country, but can be across the region. So regionally, are there conventions that tells how you can deal with this? Europe is trying to do this, but I don't think in Asia Pacific or ASEAN, we at this stage we are looking at MC, but we are still looking at formal qualification. How can it be recognized across borders within the region or even beyond? And certainly there are no international, but the discussion is already begun, right? So if you look at academic qualification on this end, you can see these are already there, right? For formal qualifications, you can see all these already there. And for micro-credentials, elements of this are not in place yet. So they need to be in place so that they can have good recognition, good integration into formal qualification, if you like, and also vice versa, the other way around. And that's where the GGP MQA comes in. So we've introduced, MQA has introduced the GGP to create a framework, okay? There was no standards, there was no benchmarks, there were no guidelines, there were no principles. So in this GGP, you will find some key principles identified in the design and development, and some key policies identified, which provides you a way to design and deliver this, and it carries some flexibility, right? And then quality assurance, accredited qualification, standalone, and the credit bank is something in the future. I just mentioned it, and the whole idea is how can formal qualifications that providers have can be micro-credentialized, and also once they're micro-credentialized, how can they be actually recognized not only by the same institutions but also other institutions for purposes of getting a full formal qualification, should the learner at some point in time in future be interested in acquiring one. So that way it becomes portable. There is more pathways, and it becomes, hopefully at some point in time, it becomes quite seamless, you know, easy to trade in an MC for formal qualification. You know, they call it the idea of stacking. So let's get into the GGP. What's in the GGP? Generally, we are talking about quality assurance of micro-credential. These are the 6 touch points, right? You touch the credential. Okay, what is the credential? Who is using it? Can we verify? Where do we go for verification? How can we authenticate this is the learner? So it's about, and then the quality of learning. This is through, it's tied to assessment, right? Both amount of learning, the skills that have been acquired through learning, and then amount of effort that's required. We call it student learning time. In terms of hours, usually duration, learning outcomes, are they clearly stated? And then the level of learning, it's a complexity of what you have learned. Can be very much simple skills to very high level cognitive skills, right? That's, I'm sure most of you are familiar with the GGP by now. If you're not, you can download it. It's available on MQA. That's the GGP you're talking about, issued in August 2020. And that is what I'm going to talk about. Okay. One of the challenges was there wasn't a common definition. There are many definitions all over the world. So first thing in the GGP you want to do is try and establish a definition. So this is the definition and in the GGP. So the definition addresses these things. What is it? It's a digital certification of assessed knowledge, skills, and competencies, right? The word digital is very liberally interpreted in the standard, so that we're not tying you to a digital badge, which is using blockchain technology and things like that. I'm sure if you offer it as it's a paper-based transcript, but it is a PDF, that for now satisfies as a digital certification. Hopefully down the line, we will be able to use some more sophisticated ways of providing the certification and making sure the certification is carried by the learner and can actually provide it to anyone who's interested. And it provides a certain amount of confidence and trust that the learning event took place. The learner did acquire certain levels of knowledge, and from whom, when, and everything should be in there. So that's one. Second part is our definition deals with the scope. So micro-credentials by concept actually deals with smaller, shorter, is a small small volume of learning, if you like. So shorter in duration, it's very focused. So the scope is not as large as a macro qualification or the regular qualification and degrees and masters we're talking about. This is a small piece. So how small can it be? It can be 1 hour, 2 hour learning. It can be even week or weeks, can be even month. But usually you're talking about not something that lasts many months. It may be a month, 2 or 3, but not many months. In some places it should not be more than 6 months. So if you look at Coursera, their definition is it should be a month. 4 weeks is the ideal time for micro-credential. Anything longer than that, you lose all your students. So that's by experience in terms of student psychology, motivation, and so on and so forth. The design, the definition also deals with design. Can be a component of an accredited program. So all of the colleges have got accredited program, either PA or FA. So it can be, you can take components of this and think in terms of micro-credential. Or you can also think in terms of standalone. They're not, they may be inspired by your program. They may be based on the expertise you have developed in offering this program, but you design it with a different crowd with purpose. It's not part of the accredited program, but it may be inspired by the program. So you develop it for different groups of people. Could be retirees, could be professionals working in a particular field. So those are in terms of the design options. And the last one is what is the purpose of this micro-credential? So the definition relates to professional, technical, academic, and personal development of learners. So it could be all of this. So a lot of personal development is individual. It could be even hobby-based, hobby, pastime-based, and things like that. Certainly technical, professional, and academic is geared towards the kind of job roles that they have or they intend to switch. And also for academic, in this case, is actually as part of credit transfer, right, into programs. So it could be all of this. So in that sense, the definition is quite an expansive definition. Not the one cost more, expensive definition, because it covers a lot of these things. So it gives a lot of room for individuals to look at. These are some of the principles. Nothing new here. This is, you can get it from everyone. Anyone is doing micro-credential anywhere. You look at the literature. These are common. not necessarily even for micro-credentials. This can go for any training program, any credentials as well. They should be outcome-based. And not because right now we're talking about OBE. Outcome-based has always been an important value, right, in designing a curriculum, things like that. Just that we didn't make it so explicit and not so aggressively pursued as we do now. But you start with the end in mind. What was the end? It's an outcome, right? It is personalized. In micro-credentials, especially those that are very much online-based, using the online technology a lot, you are able to actually do this. In the traditional sense, you may not be able to do this. It's very much a standard set of experience for everyone, right? As long as your students are of similar, they come with the same background, that may not pose a big challenge. But you have a very diverse set of learners with the different abilities and backgrounds, you may find this becoming a challenge. So on online, you can self-pace. So that allows a lot more personalization of the learning of the micro-credential. So one of the advantage of micro-credential, or one of the benefit of micro-credential, actually to allow to enable this to happen, personalization. Industry-driven, yes, it applies to all credentials, but micro-credentials can be a good way for even the formal qualifications of HEP to address current industry needs. So you don't have to constantly tweak your formal program, but you may layer your formal program with MCs which address current, and this current demands of employees might change in a year. So you can actually change it. So your formal degree provides the basic capabilities, abilities, and competencies and knowledge, and it's MCs around it which you layer for your student, and they can also, student can opt for different packages. So that can become really a powerful way to become industry driven, instead of thinking of how do I change the whole curriculum to become industry driven. You don't have to do that all the time. Secure and shareable, yeah. This is about the credentials. So you have to do it in a way that is safe and secure, can be verified. You can also authenticate. And the last one, there's a lot of information about your course outcomes, learning effort, the content, the assessment, the issuer, the one that is operating this. What's the background? Do they have quality assurance? What's the internal quality assurance? How do they make sure it is improved? They may even have somebody outside looking at this micro-credential, even if they're not a university, to verify that they're doing the right things. So some general principles. Okay. There are two ways in which you can do micro-credentials in the DGP. It talks about two ways. One is unbundling your accredited programs. When it's accredited programs, it covers PA and FA. Yeah? If it is PA, provisional accreditation, you must make sure you've already fulfilled all the syarat conditions. When you got approved, they say, no, you need to review this, you need to upgrade this. So the syarat, so you need to make sure those are fulfilled, right? Fulfilled, and then you are in business. You can think in terms of micro-credentialing, looking at your course and then take parts of it for micro-credentialing purposes. FA certainly in play. So both, PA and FA. When we say micro-credentials from accredited programs, these micro-credentials continue to enjoy the same rights and privileges of the program. Okay, so if it continues to enjoy the same rights and privileges, then you have to make sure, even though they are micro-credentials and offered to maybe other learners, as long as you want that privilege and you want that rights, you have to make sure it does not in any way contradict or conflict with the terms of accreditation, right? Once accredited, they say this is the program accredited, this many credits, this is the content, this is how it has been sequenced, this is the learning outcomes, this is the cost level outcomes, this is the mapping. So all these are part of the terms of accreditation. So when you take it out and you do it, you have to try and not as fast as possible, you have to maintain the integrity of the course that or subject or module that sits within the program. You got to maintain the integrity. When I say integrity, do not change the name of the course you can change, you can give the package a new name, right? When I say course, so you may have, the package may be data analytics for dummies, right? Or for idiots. And then you have, within that, you got, basic stats, basic this and things like that. So those may be the courses, right? So the courses are still the same, but the package is quite a provocative package, an appealing package to the crowd. So you can actually name it such, and then you've got courses in it. The courses carry the similar title. They should carry the same outcomes, right? And they should have the same or equivalent or similar assessments as well. Your assessments, as long as they are aligned to your outcomes, even if the micro-credential assessment is slightly different, as long as they align, then you are able to defend your decision. Because ultimately, for MQA in the standard is, are they aligned? So there may be choices in terms of different methods that can be aligned. So you may have chosen differently. Make sure they align, and then don't break up the credits. For example, if you have a 3-credit course, you want to micro-credential it. You may have the 3-credit course may be packaged as 4 units or sub-units, right? So when you finish the first unit, you get some recognition, some badge and things like that. So you finish all the 4, you get your new badge and says, this is a 3-credit course in business statistics, right? So it's the same, it's a 3-credit. But the way you deliver it, you design the packages, you can have 10 sub modules, if you like. It's a concept of micro learning. I think Prof. Karim will be talking about a lot more than that, but you can do that. So the main point is try and make sure the integrity of the course in the program is not in any way put in jeopardy, because it will affect the accreditation of the program. And these programs that you're offering, micro-credential, may be done by another unit within the universities, but they have to come under your IQA. So if all these courses, the results go to Senate, then these courses need to go to Senate as well, so that it is given the same treatment by the university. It's under the faculty's care, it is under the Senate's care, and therefore these courses, if students, somebody has taken, and later they want to enroll in your course, it's not credit transfer, it's credit completion. So they already completed half the credit in MC form. So when suddenly they want to, or say now they have an opportunity to join the course, then there's no credit transfer, because these courses are courses from that program. It is under the QA process of the university, which includes also external QA, and therefore there's no concept of transfer credit. This one is credit completion, because your own program, your own university, it's quality assured courses of a particular program or module of a particular program. So it's credit completion. You don't have to see 80% similar. It has to be similar, right? Assessment or different things like it has to be same or equivalent or a similar assessment. The content is the same, but the way in which you design and deliver, the micro learning and further the subunits, that is something you can do on the other side. And I'm sure when you start doing these things, you will come back to the formal program and you say, why can't I do this here as well? So there will be some cross learning taking place, which is beautiful, right? If you learn from micro-credential, if it works very well, maybe you want to explore and experiment this in your regular program. So that's fine as part of continuous improvement, enhancement of the program, and improvement of the design as well. It's not a problem, but make sure you are all the time mindful of the fact that this is an accredited program. So do not do anything that jeopardizes the accreditation. If you have any doubts, when in doubt, consult MQA. I want to do this. Is this safe to do? So if you're in doubt, don't just ignore. Just go back to MQA and say, I want to do this. Is it okay? So at least you get some fun before you do, and then you can proceed on that basis. Standalone gives you a lot more option, right? If you want a lot of freedom to design, then standalone. you have a lot of autonomy. You can be quite creative with the content, the package, the title. You may have a very different targeted crowd and things like that. And there's no formal credits assigned, right? This is a standalone course, but as I will point out later, you should actually indicate the learning hours involved or needed to complete, for a learner to complete the course successfully. So that's indicated, which is important for credit transfer under FLC or credit transfer under MOOCs. Under the policy, you can operate micro-credential in the conventional way or in the inventional way, right? Online, blended, in a classroom basis, you can do it all hybrid, because especially those courses which has got equipment, lab and things like that, you may not be able to do everything online. So some things may have to be done in person, in campus. Some things can be done. So it's up to you to design it in such a way that it fulfills the requirements of the program. Okay. Nationality is open. So foreign, local, you can, especially it's done online. Around this time of pandemic, people cannot travel. So this can be offered online. And it can be, if it is part of your accredited program, then later when the students come and join you, it is your program. It is part of your accredited program. It follows everything. Content, assessment, outcomes are the same. So later when they come, it is not credit transfer, it's completion, because it's your program. Credit transfer is from another university, another institution, right? Then you transfer into an institution. This is from your own institution, and it is the point I need to make is this: if it is a credit, is from a accredited program, and it undergoes all the requirements of an accredited program or course that is in place in your university or your college. So it cannot be, okay, this one is by our business arm, and faculty doesn't want to take note of this, and Senate doesn't want to. If that happens, then it's not part of your accredited program. It's accreditation means there is a process of looking after its quality. So there may be processes, policies, and groups within the university that does this for the university to create assurance, confidence, and it is also at some point in time involved also external MQA or professional body. Naming, if it is from, like I said, you can, the courses need to be kept the same title. If you say business statistics, it's business statistics, but the package can be a bit different, but you cannot label the package a diploma. You give them two courses, and then you say this is a diploma, right, or degree. No, you can call it by some name with some suggested names here. So you cannot name it in such a way that it creates conflict, confusion and conflict with the nomenclature in the framework, because just two courses don't make a diploma, so you can't call it a diploma. But you can label it, like I said, if I'm taking some stats course and some software in data analytics, and I call it data analytics for the brave, for all the dummies, okay, for beginners. So that's fine. Micro-credential for this and that purposes, that's fine. Okay. If it is a professional program of yours, professional program means this is regulated by a professional body, then you have to consult the professional body, right? If they agree with this plan, then go ahead, but always consult with them. So MQAs, this GGP doesn't override their powers under their respective acts, so you need to consult them. And this GGP applies to all levels except types of programs. So foundation and thesis-based programs are excluded from the application of this GGP. Right? And the last part I already mentioned. And when you want to micro-credentialize your programs, please inform MQA. So MQA keeps a list and knows of who is doing what. And then when they go for accreditation, they'll also look at this as part of the accreditation, because it's an accredited program, and your MC still enjoys the benefit and privileges of an accredited status. So you look at it. If it is standalone, please let MQA know. So we also know that you're offering this for the benefit of monitoring the implementation of this GGP. So we know what's the impact of this GGP in terms of there's no further questions, but it's just for information to see whether GGP has really worked, and other things, suitability. So you pick the programs that are suitable, right? Really marketable. There's a lot of demand for this. Then you look at this. You can also operate the micro credentials through your franchise partners. Once you have run it yourself, at least you started yourself, then you can go. You can also extend it through non-franchise partners, but limited to 70% of the program. So you can offer. So that's also flexibility in terms of collaboration if you want to extend it to others. In terms of entry requirement, the principle is for micro credentials, when you want to offer, there's no formal requirement, formal entry requirement like in the academic programs. So you can offer to someone who doesn't have an STPM. But you have to be very clear with them from the outset. If they want to seek the qualification eventually, so they do this, they stack them entirely, or they do half of them, they come into the program. So if they want to seek the award or the qualification eventually, then they need to have the minimum entry requirement for the program. That includes also FLA, right? So they need to have, so that institution need to be very clear with their learners so that there's no miscommunication, misinformation, and unpleasant exchange at the end. So they need to be very clear. But just to take the micro credential, at that point, if they want to take one or two courses as micro credential, if they don't have an SPM 3 credit, you can still offer it to them, right? There's no issue at that point, but only if they come into the formal program for award, then you need to check. You need to make sure they have the formal qualification or an APEL equivalent. And for APEL-A for micro-credential, if they finish all the courses and they don't have the SPM 4 credit for your diploma, 3 credit for your diploma, and they don't have an APEL-A, they need to apply for an APEL-A. And for that APEL-A, it is actually a modified APEL-A for this under this GGP. So they need to provide the portfolio, right? The portfolio element of APEL-A will be in play for this group of students. Okay, and the others are basically for notification, right? If you want to inform them when they begin the course, you want to inform them when they are 1/3 into stacking up the courses, you want to inform them. So those are actually to inform them to make sure they understand the entry requirement issue if they plan to take acquire the qualification. Otherwise, it's fine. There's also an age requirement, right? This is to protect and also to prevent abuse of GGP, right? GGP is largely focused on and intended for an alternative market, right? These are not the fresh students who can come and enroll and go through your 2-year, 3-year program full time. So if they're in a position, they can go and take this, no issue. So it's something that is made for them. But those who are working and they don't intend to take your whole program, they just want some parts of the program for their job or personal interest or some business plans they have. So this allows for that kind of students. So they are older. So in order to ensure that this is not abused, so there is graduating requirement. This is not an entry requirement. This is not the age you need to have before you can sign up for a course. This is graduating. If they finish all the courses and they want to graduate, at the minimum, they must be this old or older, right? So it's a graduating age rather than when they want to take, yeah, you think a baby can take your course, nothing to stop you here, right? Or primary school student want to take your course, nothing to stop you here. But if he wants to graduate to get a diploma or certificate or bachelor, yes, then the minimum age comes into play. So this one we think is just for protection, safety, to prevent abuse. But who knows, you might get somebody who's working very young and is very talented and able to sail through your course at super speed. If that happens, we expect this is a rare event. If it happens, then the Senate can actually look at this candidate and fulfill all the requirement, and then provide exemption from this rule. So there's still a flexibility if you have those kinds of candidates, which we do not think will happen on a daily basis. It's going to be a rare event, but it happens. It's a Senate's responsibility to examine and give you that flexibility. These are in terms of how you want to design and also offer, right? So it can be a single HEP, your own courses, your students, and then they graduate. If they want, they can graduate. They can seek the award from you, but it can also be actually multiple. So it's also possible for a consortium of universities to come together and say, okay, the students can take courses from this list from us. And there may be different strength of universities, right? Different prongs, different. So the students can take from different places. And then if they decide they want to get an award, they can go and register with any one of the institution in the consortium. And then this one, you can micro-credential up to 70%. That means you can do it from outside. And this is credit transfer. So remember, credit transfer definition is from accredited programs to accredited programs. So these are all HEPs who's got accredited programs. So students are taking courses in accredited programs, and then later they want to go to a college or university where they would like to seek the award, and then you tender all your MCs to them. So you can tender up to 70%. 30% must come from the awarding university. So they might say your capstone course, your research project for bachelor's or diploma, you need to do this year. That is 30%. 70% can come from elsewhere. At this point, maybe later, and when these things unfold, then you can look at it. The third one is standalone, right? Standalone, everybody can offer. But standalone, when it comes into for credit transfer, it goes through two channels. One is MOOCs. If this MC is delivered in the MOOC form, then MOOC guideline is there for credit transfer. If it is in any other form, it doesn't fit the billing of a MOOC, then it goes through FLC, right? And FLC, the only catch is the institution that wants to take in students recognize this standalone through FLC must be an FLC licensed institution. I think they are 20 over, I think approaching 20, 30 over institutions. The number is growing. So you have to be an FLC licensed institution so that you can do this, but not everyone will have this. So that's the limitation with standalone. The standalone will go through FLC and also MOOC, right? MOOC guideline is a specific to that mode of delivery. Your credit transfer. Yes.
Kalau kita boleh habiskan dalam masa 5 ke 10 minit lagi untuk sesi
I'll go through. Okay, I won't go through the credit transfer policy, as already mentioned. This is the transcript, very important to MOOCs. I put down here a sample from my micro-credential statement from our DGP and also from Europe, and also another one from FutureLearn. So it's important all the information is carried so that it enables FLC or credit transfer. This is if you don't remember anything, this is the last takeaway. This is what the GGP is all about. It talks about the what, how, by who, with what, and then finally as what. So this is summarizes. So if you want one slide, this will do it. These are all illustrations, right? Don't take this as MQA recommended or MQA preferred model. These are all possibilities, right? Just putting illustrations. And I think Prof. Karim will give you a lot more details in terms of this. Again, illustration between HEPs. And this is for existing students. I told you MC could be used to layer formal qualifications that students are getting to make them more employable. So you can actually provide a whole selection of this. We can come from other programs of yours, but these are all additional. And certainly there is a duration element, there's a cost element. So you need to think about all these things. But these are all now possible, right? If earlier people did think of it, then DGP opens up possibilities for existing program, for existing students. So it can be additional, it can be complementary, and maybe sometime in future it becomes an alternate too. Like I said, it's not ready to replace, but we can never say no or it cannot. Things are evolving so fast, so in future it might be. And even for international, right? Your modules can be, if you look at the GGP, as long as it's an accredited institution from Australia or anywhere, and you want to take a module that's not offered here, but that you want to take the module, and you can think already in terms of micro-credentials, right? Or courses that they offer that can be actually recognized. But the only catch is it must be an accredited institution by according to the procedures and processes of their country, then you can actually think. So that's even going into transnational education already, TNE, beyond institutions here. So even other countries. So that's even possible now, right? And for those who are running this on a standalone, for those accredited programs, you're already covered under the QA arrangement for the program, right? For the standalone, these are the touch points for QA. So if you want MQA to look at your program and give you a quality assessment, a two-career assessment, these are the touch points, these are the criteria if you like, okay? And MQA can give you a quality mark that shows that you can trust the brand, right? This is for standalone, either by the university or any other provider. And the rest is actually, if you want to go in craft your studies, I think Prof. Karim will go in there, won't touch it, but this is a roadmap for micro-credential by one institution in Australia, right? It can be that advanced. So these are the looking forward, looking very strategically, and it can become a future for the institution. And there are many more slides there which guides you on if you want to proceed, and these are some of the questions for you to ask yourself and see how you want to proceed. Most of the time you're looking at your capabilities, your strategy, early wins, and then assessment. Okay, I think I will stop at the last slide there. Okay, nicely worded by this Oliver, whose definition is widely used in Australia and also all over the world. Hopefully, the MC provides a way for institutions to really think big, think beyond the formal qualifications, and also to allow the program to be designed in such a way that reaches out to a lot more different diverse learners. So this is lifelong learning, this is access to learning and access to quality learning, which is SDG, right? Access to quality learning, not just access to education, but quality education. So on that note, I will end and thank you, sir.
Okey, terima kasih Prof. Azman atas pembentangan sebentar tadi yang kira sangat berinformasi, yang mana Prof. Azman memberi rincian detail berkenaan dasar dan polisi bagi pelaksanaan micro-credentials dan isu-isu yang berkaitan dengannya. Saya rasa untuk sebagai pesanan penaja, saya mohon kepada peserta-peserta yang sekiranya ada sebarang soalan, kindly please click link Pigeonhole to post any questions. So hopefully kita akan jawab semua soalan itu dari sesi nanti. Saya rasa tanpa kita meningkatkan masa, saya ingin menjemput bagi pembentangan sesi kedua Prof. Karim Alias daripada USM untuk meneruskan pembentangan beliau. Dipersilakan Prof.
Terima kasih Encik Zamrin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning everyone. Oh, suara tak keluar pula. Okay, first of all, thank you Prof. Dr. Azman. You have given an excellent overview of micro-credential. I think you have covered most of the ground. But basically from, I think, the top view. So now I'm going to dive in and more at a more micro level to talk about the development of the micro-credential program and how to get started, okay? So at the end of this session, basically these are the three things. First, you should be able to establish a clear strategic intent and roadmaps. The last part just now, Prof. Azman mentioned about having a clear roadmap. Yes, it is very, very important before embarking into micro-credential program. Second point, should be able to conceptualize the design process of creating a micro-credential program. And hopefully, after this, you should be able to design the structure of the whole program appropriate for micro-credential delivery. So these are the three things I hope to cover within the 40 minutes or shorter, because I think we are behind time a little bit. So there are 4 segments of my presentation. The first one, I want to start off where Prof. Hasman just now mentioned at the end. It's very important to have a clear vision, the strategic intent, and the big picture, what exactly you want to achieve from your micro-credential. You cannot just simply jump into the water and hope, you can create something magic from the micro-credential program. So we, we have learned from our experience, and I think it's very, very important to have a clear, crystal clear picture of your strategic intent. The second one is looking at how now, once we have decided on the program, how do we go into the so-called unbundling or unpacking the program? When I use the term program, it can refer to the accredited academic program, or it can refer to any kind of professional development program for upskilling and reskilling, or even personal development program. And I will talk about the stackable credential, which to me is a very powerful aspect of micro-credential, which make the delivery of the program very flexible, very agile, very dynamic. So if you talk about academic program that is fluid, agile, dynamic, I guess micro-credential is the enabler or the tool that we can use for that purpose. Then I will show some example of micro-credential program, and then finally, experiencing and deciphering the structure of an online module. I think probably I will skip this part because I have given the link to you. I think 2 or 3 links sharing my own micro-credential module. So feel free to explore and have a look. Yeah. Right. So from zero to hero. I guess most of us here have not yet embarked into micro-credential. Do not worry, because we can always start small, and then slowly we can build up, and hopefully 1 or 2 years down the road, we can become a hero, micro-credential hero, that is. Now, let's start with the big picture. So you can see the picture here. So when you embark on anything, including micro-credential, it is a journey. And as far as micro-credential is concerned, I think it's a long haul. Prepare for a long haul, prepare for a marathon. But before you start anything, I think it's very, very important to start with the end in mind. What exactly is the strategic intent or the big picture? I'm talking here at the institutional level, organizational or institutional level. That's where we should start. And then, of course, we can cascade down to the school or faculty or department level. So what is your strategic intent? What exactly you want to achieve from this micro-credential program? Then, after that, we need to come up with the roadmap, okay? The roadmap, so that we know exactly which path we want to take. The timeline, everything are very clearly, laid out in our roadmap. Then after that, you decide on what program that you want to start off. Is it looking at your accredited academic program, which can be huge undertaking, I can tell you, or it can be, you can start from a small professional development type of program for upskilling or for reskilling, or personal development program. A short course, 1-day short course that we have been doing for a long time now, face-to-face. So maybe that will be a good point to start to transform that into the micro-credential version of it. So you can have 2 versions of the short course or your workshop, whatever program certificate program running concurrently. Then, who are your target groups? So these are the so-called pertinent questions that you want to ask before you start. And maybe you want to work, with another partner. So it's good to collaborate with other people, because doing micro-credential, especially for academic program, can be a huge undertaking. So you can't do it alone. Of course you can, but it will take years. So to cut short kind of you want to go up the curve very fast, don't be greedy. Let's work together. Okay, so we have in the table that Prof. Azman showed just now, we have the second column in the table where we encourage, we promote the spirit of working together, the collaboration, consortium kind of idea, so that we can speed up and accelerate the process of micro-credential development in the context of Malaysia. Then, of course, we have to start with the TNA, the need analysis, the gap analysis, to see where you are in the big picture as part of your roadmap and your strategic intent. If you want to start on micro-credential program, you have to really evaluate the readiness, your current readiness in your organization or your institution. Are we ready or not? If you are not ready, then find out what are the gaps and try to address the gaps. So that's it. Start with the big picture, start with the end in mind. Then we can jump in and dive in further. And again, as part of the big picture, the value proposition. What is the compelling value your micro-credential program, whatever you want to call it, certificate, professional certificate, executive certificate, whatever, what it can offer to the learners, something that of high value for money, value for time, something that the learners can really get something meaningful at the end. Not only the digital badge, not only the credit, but the real learning, the real skill, the real knowledge that they can acquire from that micro-credential program. So this is where I think the starting point is when we look at the big picture at the institutional or organizational level. We look at the impact and the effort that we put in, and then the impact that we will get. So on the left-hand side here, I would say that maybe it's easier and faster and more manageable to start with a personal development program or professional development program for upskilling and reskilling. Because doing micro-credential, if we don't have much experience with online learning, the learning curve can be very steep, I would say. So it's good to start small so that we don't get overwhelmed. Because sometimes when you get overwhelmed, then you'll never get started, because you can see the mountain to climb is so high. Then once you have acquired the basic skill, you get the momentum, you have developed the core people, the team that can do the micro-credential, and then maybe you want to see and you want to look at the academic program, or maybe you can jump straight into developing the academic program. So as far as academic program is concerned, I would say the academic program for postgraduate probably would be a good point to start, because it's smaller, like about 40 credit. So smaller, more manageable, and maybe would have a higher impact because you can get more international maybe students to come into your program. And then maybe for the undergraduate program. Undergraduate program is much bigger. We are talking about 120 credit worth, hours worth to develop 4-year, 8 semesters kind of accredited academic program. And we have to be sure that we comply with everything, the compliance to the learning outcome, program outcome, student learning time, and so on. So it's kind of more tedious to start with. But again, you can also start with undergraduate program, but start small. So this is all about planning part, which is very, very critical. The critical success factors. So I'm sharing the USM approach here. This is what I think that 5 things here: the driver and the advocator. You need the champion from the top level of the organization, without which I don't think you can really do or create success for your micro-credential program. And you need also the advocator, someone who really very, very passionate that would drive the agenda. So you need a top management who is also passionate, and also a person who, or a group of people who really advocate and push this micro-credential. So at USM, we have a micro-credential committee at the university level, chaired by our own vice chancellor. And we also have the team at the school level and the coordinators at the school level. Yeah? In USM, we use a school system. Then the workhorse. The workhorse in this case, CDAE, is my center. I'm the director of the CDAE center. We are the one who really, get things moving, doing all this so-called, I wouldn't say that it's dirty job, but really to get things moving on the ground, okay? And we are working together with, several PTJs, several departments in USM, the technical department like PTPM, PPKT, and all the school. We need to work harmoniously in order to push this agenda. Then committed the people. We need content. We need the people who will create or transform the traditional program into the so-called online micro-credential program. So whoever the pioneer who will get, who will start this micro-credential program at your institution, choose those who are really committed. Don't simply force them to do, because it's not going to be sustainable. Take it from me, this is from my own experience and my own observation. You need really a committed people who give their heart to the project, to the program. Then, of course, we talk about business model here. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about MOOC, you don't talk about business model. But when we talk about micro-credential, yes, we can talk about the micro-credential model. And inevitably, people who involved in this as a course developer, they would want to know what's in it for them, okay? Because it's over and above so-called the normal call of duty. So they should be compensated for. So this way the profit sharing model is very important. And Alhamdulillah, in USM, we have kind of finalized that. And I would say that, there's a handsome kind of profit sharing for our course developer as well. And then, of course, the funding and marketing model. So these are the 5 critical success factors that any organization or institution who want to embark and ensure success of their micro-credential. Then some of the critical requirements. Think about what platform you want to have your micro-credential on. We are using open learning. I mentioned open learning here, not for any reason, but just saying that we are using open learning, and we need to have a technical team to support, to give support to all the course developers, committed coordinator at the school level, at the faculty or department level, because you need to move this. So you need a governance structure that would ensure everything will, be moving in concert. Training, very, very important. Central subscription for web-based application. We want to provide, as many software or application as necessary for our people to develop their content. And of course, at the school or department or faculty level, the support of the head of department is really, really very, very important. It cannot just say support as a lip service, but the real support in providing the investment, the money to buy this, to buy that, to everything. So support in a real sense, okay? So now, when we go back to the ground level now, this is more of operational. How do once you have decided, okay, we have decided the program, what to do, whether it's accredited academic program or non-academic program, and we have identified the people. So now everything is in place now. So this is where we get down to work, planning, development, QC, quality control, and finally publish. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a long journey, as I mentioned earlier. So as you can see here, you need to really have a clear roadmap and divide the project into 4 different stages here, 4 different phases here. So we start with planning. So all these steps here, then developing the module. So this is where all the nitty gritty, the operational, all the problem issues will really happen at this stage. And this is where all the course developers need all the assistance they need in order to facilitate them and to get them moving. Um, I can write a story now, a book, a small ebook now on the stories of our journey, sharing the stories of different course developers. Um, then finally, once the module is ready, they have to go through the quality control. So in USM, we have a group of people who will do the QC. So we have all the scorecard, the QC scorecard, everything, and we have trained our QC so that we calibrate the understanding everything, and after that only we will publish on our micro-credential platform. Currently we have close to 150 courses, modules ready, but all under QC process. Inshallah, it is rolling out very soon. Training, I mentioned about training. So this is where my center, CDAE, is responsible to, conduct and run a training program. And you can find all this, the link to all this module. We actually share everything about our micro-credential initiative, our training module, our template, guidelines, everything we share on our CDAE website. We don't keep anything to ourselves because we believe in sharing. Sharing is caring, sharing is growing. Okay, I've given the link also in the chat box to our page on CDAE website, where you'll find all the links to these resources. Okay. Now, micro-credential in a nutshell, I think I will skip this part because Pro Hasman has done a great job. But basically, I will just summarize this. This because it is very important for us to understand. Features of micro-credential: flexible, learning on demand, competency-based, it's not time-based, but based on a mastery learning. If you have demonstrated your competency, you can get your digital badge, and usually delivered in a small, chunk based on the micro-learning concept. And because of the flexibility of micro-credential program and how it is designed, we now provide so-called provide the learners total control to personalize their learning path. Okay, very flexible, 24 hours, 7 days a week. They can, go through the program at their own pace. They can pay for the micro-credential course when they can afford it. And at the end, they will get some form of recognition, evidence of their learning, evidence of their competencies. That's why we call it competency-based. And this evidence is in the form of digital badge, or they can stack they can bundle the digital badges together and this is what we call stackable credential to get the certificate, and they can bundle the certificate further to get a bigger certificate. And finally, if they follow the path for the accredited program, they can finally get to the formal qualification through credit transfer and FLA for the admission. So competency-based education, competency-based learning, I think we need to understand that micro-credential become more flexible, and the flexibility is due to the not being constrained or confined by the time base, which is our normal traditional program, but is flexible because of it's based on the competency. Once the learner prove the competency, they are competent in certain, based on the learning outcome, then they can get the digital badge. And that is the evidence of their competency and learning. And this, again, has been elaborated by Pro Hasman just now. And always keep in mind when we talk about micro-credential program, it can refer to the accredited academic program or professional development program for upskilling and reskilling. So don't get confused. The difference here for academic program, because it is being accredited by MQA, it has to comply with whatever, requirement, like the learning outcome, the credit hours, the student learning time, everything. There is no compromise there. There is no compromise. Therefore, the micro-credential program is properly designed, is not having less quality compared to the full face-to-face program. Yeah, because we have ensured that compliance. Then, of course, a standalone micro-credential, which we can develop. And this standalone micro-credential, if we work if we work smart in a sense, you can actually package your academic program in such a way, and you can offer that package as a standalone freestanding program. And in this way, you can be sure that the course outcome and the learning outcome has already been mapped to your academic program. Or standalone can be also standalone in a real sense, meaning that it doesn't, it does not have any, it's not really mapped to your academic program. It can be any program that you want to offer, independent of your academic program for upskilling or reskilling. So this has to be always keep in mind and be very clear about it. So how do we modularize and do the course mapping? Okay. This is not a workshop. This basically just give you the conceptual way of doing this. So we are not going into the nitty-gritty of doing this modularization, just on the concept. Okay. So look at this big complete puzzle here. So we have the complete pieces put together nicely. Imagine this our program, accredited academic program, 120 credit hours. Okay. But usually when students enroll in this 4-year program or 3-year program, maybe for diploma, they have to follow, through the program semester by semester. Every semester maximum, let's say 20 credits. And the courses are actually offered sequentially. You have to take this course this semester, only this course. And before you take this course, you have to take another course. So it's sequential, okay? And let's say if the student quit halfway during the 4 years, what happens? They will get nothing. So this is what we have now, the current system, where it's all or nothing. Even if they graduate, if they quit at that point, they already collected 120 credits, there's no way they can get a full degree. So it's all or nothing. What if we take and unpack the courses from the whole program? Okay. So this is where the unbundling comes in. And if we unbundle the courses in such a way, instead of putting it together and require the student to take the course or the module sequentially, why not we put together, let's say 4 or 5 courses together in a thematic form, meaning that it has certain theme. So it becomes, one big module here, but it has a certain theme, okay? And then, of course, when we unpack, always ensure compliance to the SLT, to the learning outcome, to the program outcome. So that when we put the pieces together again to form a complete program, they would get complete 120 credit hours, and all the learning outcome are aligned to the program outcome. So imagine if we have taken out the courses from the program and bundle them into a thematic bundles. And when we look at the course level now in the circle here, so we go further and bundle it, modularize it further in a way that it makes sense so that each module from the course now can also stand alone. Because remember, if we take a certain module out and offer it to the public, some people would want to take only that particular module. They're probably not interested to take the whole course. They're probably not interested to take the whole package, the whole bundle. They're only interested to take 1 or 2 modules. This is where the learning on demand concept is just in time, just in case, just enough, just for me. So as much as we can, it's very critical at the unbundling or unpacking stage to ensure that the bundles, whether the bundles at the bigger level or at the smaller level, is as standalone as possible. That is actually where the difficult part, because we really need to look at how we can put them together in such a way that it makes sense. That particular module has, some value. So if I put it this way, let a picture of the box here, and the box here can represent the whole 4-year or 3-year program, degree or diploma program, or it can be, let's say, like 1 day short course or 1 week kind of executive program. So all you need to do now is to unpack them into several packages, into a logical packages, and this is where the thematic come in. In this case, in the example, I have 3 packages here, and I put it into three theme here: theme 1, theme 2, and theme 3. Each of the box here contain X number of courses and X number of modules. And I can offer this. I can give a different name as long as the name doesn't, clash with the MQF. What's already there in the MQF. Certificate, advanced certificate, professional certificate, whatever. And this can be offered as a standalone or freestanding professional development program, upskilling or reskilling, or even for lifelong learning program to support our lifelong learning agenda. So this is what we call just in time, just enough, just for me. This is where the flexibility of micro-credential really shine here. So there are some terminologies that we use. For example, we use the term program, course, unit, module. So when we look at the program level, once you have decided at the institution level, where you have decided, okay, let's start with this program, master's program or undergraduate program, then we zoom in and we look at how do we unpack the courses and put them in a certain bundle, logical bundle, thematic bundle. And then when we go to the course level here, this is where we can modularize the course further. And then we start to develop the module. Okay, so to simplify, we can see in this form. So the whole course now, so we are zooming at the course level with 3 learning outcome, divide into topics, and we can go further and divide into smaller module. Okay, and of course, this is where the kind of the tedious part, where we really need to ensure everything is in compliance in terms of the student learning time. So don't worry, we have all these guidelines which you can find on our website as well, in terms of how do we estimate when we break down into a smaller module. How do we estimate the student learning time? And it's a more detailed one for the assignment, for the activity, for the quiz, everything. Okay, so this is where when we do a workshop, we can really go into detail of this cost mapping and ensuring the compliance of the student learning time. And I always get this question: how big or how small is a micro-credential module? I think Dr. Azman has mentioned just now, it could be as short as 1 hour, 1 week, 1 month, yeah. But I will give you some example here. Look at this one, yeah. Creative copywriting for entrepreneurs. This is the actual course that I am taking as a student, yeah, on domestic website. Currently, they are on sale now if you want to buy. This is actually based in Spain, yeah, the platform, 45 ringgit. And 14 lesson, yeah, 14 lesson, 2 hours, 53 minutes, about 3 hours. And how big is the micro-credential module, or how small is the micro-credential module? My answer is this. Okay, the module is standalone. So when you design it, try as much as you can to make it as standalone, because this could be the only module that the people out there will take, because they are only interested to learn about copywriting in this case. They are not interested in other courses or other modules in the package. Then it must be substantive. If I were to pay 45 ringgit for this module, it must be substantive. At the end of this module, I really learn something about the skill to be or to write a copy, to do a copywriting, or as to become a copywriter at least. It must provide high value for every cent that I pay for this module. Okay, a skill, I will get a skill as a copywriter. I have some knowledge, some skill about copywriting. Very focused, you don't want to put too many things in one module. Normally you want to focus on one skill, one or two skill, or critical concept, knowledge based, yeah. And also, I would say between 1 to 4 hours. In this case, this one is, I think, probably not shown here. I think it's probably about 2 or 3 hours to finish this one. Sorry, 2 hours, yeah? Yeah, about 3 hours. Yeah, here, about 3 hours. And this module is actually can be part of, let's say, 6 module here. If I take all the other 6 module and I completed and get 6 digital badges, I will get 1 certificate on online marketing and business. So you can already see the stackable credential in action, from a digital badge to a certificate. And you can see here, this micro-credential module in action here, example on Skillshare here. So you can see each module here is about 2 hours, 1 hour and a half, 3 hours. Yeah, this one is a bit long, 6 hours. So if you imagine that these 8 modules are interrelated, part of a certificate. So as a student, I may be interested only to take the first module. I'm not interested to take the other module. So I'm happy, then that's it. But if I have the intention to take the full certificate, I will take all the 8 modules, I will get 8 digital badges, and I will get 1 certificate in something. That's basically, ladies and gentlemen, the concept of stackable credential. And this is another example here. And it's my own module, my own course, only about 2 hours and 3 minutes, 14 lessons. And you can see here at the lesson level, it's a video based, only short videos, only 5 to 10 minutes video. Yeah. And this is our micro-credential on our micro-credential platform, a course, 14 weeks, 1 semester course, instructional design. There are 9, it's divided into 9 modules, and you can see the student can see the roadmap here of these 9 modules. So as a student, they probably interested only to take module 7 here, but they are not interested to take the other modules. So they are free to choose. But if they want to get a certificate, the full certificate, of course, they have to complete 9 modules. And this is my own module, another module on our micro-credential website, using Google Site to create a teaching or training module. 2 hours learning time plus 2 hours project. And they have to, at the end of this module, they have to submit an assignment where they have to create a teaching module or training module using Google Site. Then only they can get a digital badge. But this module could be part of the other module as part of certificate. But at the end of this module, once the student have completed, they will get a digital badge. But actually, there are other modules. This module is actually one of 7 modules in this package. If the student take all the 7, they will get 7 digital badges like this, and they get a full certificate. But this certificate turned out to be one of the several certificates in order to get a bigger advanced certificate. So we can continue to kind of stack all the certificate, bundle all the digital badges, bundle all the certificates to get a bigger, higher qualification. In this case, in this example, Certified Google Educator Level 1, Certified Google Educator Level 2. And this can carry on. Hope I have another about 3 minutes. Okay, let me hurry up. So think of micro-credential as micro-certification in specific area of study, knowledge-based or skill-based. Yeah, so at the module level, this is where the development part is. A module just like a miniature course. So you have all the essential element of a course: overview, content, learning activities, assessment, learning resources, and all the the structure, the elements need to be in one small module. Okay, and to obtain a micro credential, what does it generally entail? As part of the module, the learner, the student may be required to do assessment, to attend the conferences, and to have to come up with a portfolio. And this is part of the whole module in order to get the digital badge or the certification. They may have to attend a lecture and seminar demonstration of skill. The module can offer a skill-based or knowledge-based hard skill or soft skill. And stackable credential, I think I have given you the example, but this one, basically you want to start with the end in mind. What is your end? It could be a degree program, it could be a diploma program if you are talking about micro-credential from the academic program. And then we can use a stackable credential idea or model to stack them up to get the final qualification and get a credit transfer through FLC and admission through FLA. So this is about creating flexible pathway from professional certificate to a degree. Okay, and I have a few example, and you will have the copy of the slides. So I don't have time to go through this one because I want to finish my presentation within the time given. I have another about 1.5 minutes now. But basically, you can see on the right-hand side, this is the end in mind, and then you can work, and you can divide into packages or bundles. As you can see, this is actually a real program from this from Arizona State University. You can see here how they bundle, unbundle, and unpack, and again rebundle to get the full qualification. Okay, so these are just example to illustrate to you and give you clearer idea of how you can bundle and unbundle the program under the micro credential. Here on edX we have micro bachelor's program, so I would encourage you to have a look and explore further. This is a micro bachelor program by edX, 3 months, self-paced, and that's cost, and that contribute towards the academic program. Yeah, they can have a credit transfer. As you can see here on Coursera, they have a different kind of bundles and guided project course, specialization, professional certificate, master track certificate, which contribute towards a degree. As you can see, the credit from master track certificate counts towards your degree. So there are many examples, and I have given you selected example which you can explore further. Okay, and this is on Future Learn. As you can see here, micro credential program, Monash University, from Monash University. Okay, so feel free to go through this example. I think I will this more or less yeah. Just let me go straight to the conclusion now. So the scenario in 2021, this year, I would think that micro-credential will really go to the next trajectory. So what we will have this year and the coming years, we will have accredited academic program, conventional, running side by side with the accredited academic program in the micro-credential version. Then, if we are creative in designing the micro-credential program, we can offer the different packages as a certificate program for upskilling, reskilling, and lifelong learning program. Yeah, so give it a try. This module, which I've given the link and the other module as well. Give it a try and have fun. I would recommend you to view the module on the phone. So 5 key points to take away, and 1 CTA, 1 call to actions. Yeah, be clear of your strategic intent. Establish a clear roadmap. Be mindful of the critical success factors. Collaborate, don't be greedy. Unbundle creatively, and call to action. Grab the low-hanging fruits. Get started and just do it. Just do it. So thank you very much. And this is the link. You can, you might want to take the picture of the slide. And the link to download the slide, and the link to some of my website and my YouTube channel as well. So thank you very much, everyone, and back to Saudara Zamrin. Thank you.
Okey, terima kasih Prof. Karim atas pembentangan yang saya kira sangat informatif, bagaimana kita nak convert from the academic program to micro credentials. Saya rasa satu kongsian yang sangat menarik daripada Prof. Karim yang sebenarnya di USM sendiri telah melaksanakan micro credential yang saya rasa USM agak ke depan sedikit berbanding aktiviti lain di dalam melaksanakan micro credential. Okay, untuk sesi seterusnya kita akan pergi kepada sesi Q&A. Mungkin Sekretariat boleh share soalan-soalan yang telah dimajukan di dalam pigeonhole yang saya fikir panel akan menjawab. Ada sebahagian soalan tu telah dijawab dan mungkin kita boleh pilih soalan yang masih belum dijawab lagi lah. Okay. Okay, untuk soalan ini, for credit completion, would the grades for the migration be included in the CGPA calculations? Okay, macam mana Prof. Hazman?
Okay, thank you. If it is credit completion, certainly it will be included because it is the same as doing the course. So remember, sometimes we talk about credit transfer, credit exemption. Credit transfer comes with the grade. Credit exemption, you recognize that the person has taken it, but you won't assign a grade in your transcript. But in this case, it's not even credit transfer; it's credit completion. So it's completed your course and got this grade. So you should, with great confidence, just record it, include it in the final transcript or whatever document you want to give, right? Because it's your own course. You have delivered it. It is the same assessment, same system. It has gone through the same care under the faculty and the university and things like that. So it's for all intents and purposes treated as the same, right? So yes, so the short answer is yes, you put in the whatever grades or points or marks or whatever you're using that person has obtained. And it can also be binary, remember, pass and fail.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Azman. Okay, next questions. Short LMS is essential to implement MC. What features should be included in the required LMS? Okay, Prof. Azman, kita boleh jawab ataupun Prof. Karim?
Prof. Karim, LMS.
Yes,
Prof. Karim.
Yeah, my slides earlier. One of the critical requirement, yes, LMS or a platform. You need a platform to put your MC program, your courses, your modules. Yeah.
Okay.
The answer is yes, of course.
Okay, thanks, Prof. Karim. Okay, next questions. How about the recognition for non-Malaysians who are enrolled in the migration after their completions?
Osman.
Yeah,
I mean, if they complete a micro credential, they are entitled to the same credential that you're providing to any learner, even in Malaysia, right? So I presume you're talking about just completing the micro credentials, that particular package. So they'll get the same package which carries the same information about who provided it, what was the nature of the, what was the outcome. You know, the Malaysian micro credential statement carries the different elements you should have in that, and which they can use later on with the employer or other institution at home, or even back to the very same college that offered this. So it's the same. There's no distinction if it is Malaysian or non-Malaysian.
Okay.
It's based on the same principles.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Actually sebenarnya untuk micro credential pun dia penawaran tu berdasarkan surat kelulusan. So regardless any mode, kalau student tu masuk through MC pun dia akan dapat yang qualification yang sama as a conventional mode lah. Okay. Okay, so for next questions, adakah program integrasi sarjana muda tahap 6 MPF dan sarjana tahap 7 MPF credit exemption sama dengan micro credentials? Okay,
this soalan, this specific soalan tu, this is a program integrasi sarjana muda ni is only done by one I know of. So kalau jawab macam ni, others will get confused, you know. This integrated program, if I'm not mistaken, dibenarkan atau for one of the RU kan yang kendalikan sekarang ini. Ya, ada satu yang kendalikan sekarang.
Yes.
So they do this for selected students like those who made the criteria. They can do some of these courses while they are in their undergraduate, which will be transferred to
master
faster when they continue the program. So khas untuk this group, but the concept is still credit transfer lah. Yes. Right now they use credit transfer, but they can easily do it as a micro credential as well, right? But they're doing it with micro credential. Sekarang ni dia gunakan credit transfer. I think based on the university rules and regulation, it is still considered as credit transfer lah. Because some university rules, antara program dalam university pun consider credit transfer. Padahal same course, same credit, same common courses pun they consider, which is university rules lah. Itu university rules. But for me, if you ask me, barring the university rules, so I consider they have completed the credit because it's the same university and same program, same content, same assessment, same IQA, semua tu sama macam program dalam master juga. So it's actually credit. They dah complete that credit already. Tapi I will always refer to the university punya own rules. What do they treat them? Kalau they treat them differently, tapi they called it differently. Ada dia punya dasar khas, tapi in effect it is they don't go and check the subject and say 80% sama tak, because it's memang sama lah. This particular program tu memang dia kena sama, right? The same master's course dia buat waktu dia. It's just they're doing it earlier. But everything is the same, right? So I don't want to confuse the others. Nanti orang dengar tu, because as far as I know, satu yang buat ni, is what they call some integration.
Okay, thanks for Azman. Okay, next questions. Is the same assessment format and exam regulation applies to the MCs if the MCs are offered from a accredited program? Okay.
Yeah, because it's accredited program comes with terms of accreditation. So we carefully use the word same, similar, or equivalent, because you can define if it is similar or equivalent, because you define it by looking at your CLO, right? So sometimes CLO allows some variety. I mean, it could be cognitive or psychomotor or affective in nature. But within that, there are different methods you can use. Maybe you're using one there and you want to use something here, so you can actually defend. So we go back to the principle, it must be aligned with the CLO. So if it is equivalent, still not an issue. But I would come back and say, if it's something different and it's more exciting there, I think you would also want to look at your costs in the program as well. Why don't you make it so it can actually enrich mutually, right? Not just one way. You can actually come back and say your regular course also can actually have the same exciting form of assessment, as long as it meets the requirements of the program and the program standard. And most program standards are now actually quite flexible in terms of assessment. There's no final exam requirement. There is a final assessment because you still have some form of summative assessment to say, okay, this person has got all. Because the CLOs are also not compartmentalized CLOs, right? 1, 2, 3 doesn't mean 1, 2, 3. It is actually a collection of CLOs that work together as a system. So you have so you're talking about final assessment and continuous assessment. So so most of the program standards are flexible enough to actually accommodate quite a lot of variation. So even assessment, they say percentages are between 70 to 30. Oh, that's a lot of range. How much you want to have a continuous or how much you want to have as a final assessment. And we're not talking about exam, final assessment. That could be an exhibition or demonstration or producing a piece of code or music or a piece of cake at the end, right? So there's a lot of flexibility, but you need to, because it is accredited, it comes with that, the privilege comes with that limitation, like you like. But if you do not want that, then you are thinking of a standalone. Go for standalone, because you can have in some ways you can have the cake and eat it, because you are taking advantage of your course in the program, the learning, the content, the value, but at the same time you want a lot of freedom. Then standalone doesn't mean you have to cipta satu kursus khas, completely different from your existing one. So you take it from there and then you shape it, reshape it to the needs of the student. So like I said, like in that case, you're having the cake and eating it at the same time.
I think maybe I can add.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the guiding principle is the constructive alignment, the alignment to the program outcome, to the course learning outcome. So when you develop the online module, the micro-credential in the form of an online course, actually we have more kind of, you can be more creative in terms of designing the content, designing the assessment, the learning activities, and so on. It may be different from what we do in the face-to-face program, although it's the same accredited program. But I think the most important thing is it is still aligned to the learning outcome, or to the program outcome. Just like you have a cake, then we cut it into 5 pieces. The ingredients are still exactly the same, but for the micro-credential piece, you can add on some topping, jam, whatever, to make it even more delicious. But the basic ingredients are still the same. So I can see actually micro-credential, if we really put some creativity in it, in the design, it can be even more, provide even greater value than the face-to-face, except the missing part, which is the face-to-face, the real human face-to-face. That's all. Otherwise, it can be even more, we can create even higher value, depending on how creative we are in developing the online part, the online module.
Okay, setuju dengan Prof. Karim. So on the point of view of MQA pun sama, kita in terms of assessment ni kita akan lebih more flexible. It can be same dan can be tak sama, but as program said tadi, kita akan tengok on the mapping to the CLO. So this is the important things lah. So dia boleh menjadi berlainan lah, tapi is menjadi bertanggungjawab to designer to accountable how you mapping the assessment to the CLO. Okay, alright. Okay, for next questions, can we charge the learner with any amount of fee, or it is subject to the tuition fee as approved by MOE? Yang ni saya bagi Prof. Karim lah kot, sebab dia dah lama implement kan.
Well, I think it's up to the micro-credential provider or the program provider. For professional development program, I think you are free to put any price as long as it reflects the value of that particular program or the module that the students take. If I have to pay 100 ringgit for 2 hours module, and I know that I can get great value from that module, so I wouldn't mind to pay 100 ringgit. So the price, kind of the price range would depend, I would say, based on the value that you can offer from that module. Yeah, and as far as academic program is concerned, I think again, the university has the kind of the freedom to determine what will be the right price. Well, in USM, actually, to be honest, we have yet to decide on that. We are going to put this on our jawatan kuasa, kita panggil jawatan kuasa fee lah. Yeah, I guess, but the answer to that is yes, I think we can charge the learners, but with a reasonable amount, reasonable price that commensurate with the value of that program.
Okay.
Hasman,
Okay, thanks, Prof. Karim. Okay, next questions.
Can standalone.
Can standalone MC courses be accepted via FLC or accepted via conventional entry? Prof. Hasman?
Oh, dia untuk recognition, is right? This one is recognition. So standalone MCs, if the institution is a license to do FLC, then they can come through FLC for recognition, right? You're talking about recognition in terms of credits. Yes, they come through this. And if they are particular type of course, MOOCs, so there is a procedure for credit recognition. So if you've taken this course as a MOOC, so it's a specialized just for that kind of delivery or mode, then you can go through CT for credit transfer or MOOC as well. So, but if it is not necessarily doesn't qualify as a MOOC, then the FLC route is still open for recognition, provided the institution has an FLC, is an authorized FLC MQA.
Yeah, I think with micro-credential, the FLC now would have, currently I think it's relatively underutilized, Prof. Hasman. But I think with micro-credential, FLC would be now more, will have more widespread use for our learners.
Okay, thanks, Prof. Karim. Okay, soalan seterusnya. What is the difference between credit transfer and credit completion? Okay, Prof. Hasman dah terangkan tadi.
See, most universities dalam peraturan dia this credit transfer and credit exemption, right? They have this. So they don't talk about completion. Is always talking about when a student comes in and then goes through the program and he said, okay, he has completed all the 120 credits, all the requirements, and therefore he's ready to graduate, right? So for MC, which is from your accredited program, and since they have the status of accreditation, although it may be delivered separately to a different group, even in a different mode of delivery, online, for instance. But it is because it's treated as an accredited program. So if a student goes through this, takes up all the requirements, and then finally says, I want to get the award, then in the GGP you use the word credit completion. So you don't have to subject them through credit transfer process. Remember, credit transfer process, there is a process to apply, then somebody, individual or group, can sit down and evaluate the content, 80% similar, they are the same level, the CLOs and assessments. In this case, it's your own program. So you can, in the GGP use the word credit completion in that sense. So you need to translate this in your university regulation. What would that be? So I hope they will treat it as a super class credit transfer lah. So dia ada VIP lane, tak payah evaluate because benda tu is actually the same, right? Everything is the same. It's not doesn't come from another institution. It's not a somewhat similar curriculum. It's the same. Assessment is the same. The content is the same. Credit the same. Offered by the university under the care of the university in terms of quality assurance. They should be given a special pass for under, if they don't have a credit completion procedure, then it should be a credit transfer, but should be a credit transfer with like I said lah, is a A-class credit transfer ke ataupun VIP credit transfer ke green lane credit transfer ke, so whatever the university regulation is lah. So you need to translate it into your own university regulation. How do you handle this thing? But we want to make sure it's not treated as a normal credit transfer, which then loses its one of the key value, right? it's an accredited course from your own program. It's quality assured, it's under accreditation. So why does it need to go through as though it's from a different university, a different program? So you should get that. But eventually it is also the university's call. If they are treated as credit transfer, it's I suppose they have the prerogative to do that. But for the GGP, we give them that this privilege and this flexibility, right? And also recognizing the cost and not subjecting the learner to another set of procedure, which is not actually intended for this one.
Okay.
That's.
Thank you, Rosman. Okay, next questions. Okay. Given the global movement towards MC, how do Malaysian HEP compete with Australia and EU or nearer to home like Singapore? Co-creating with international partner may have but needed guidance on business model.
Prof. Karim?
Prof. Karim, Rosman?
Talking about the models.
Business model.
I mentioned in the conclusion just now, it's a low-hanging fruits. It's basically for everyone now to grab. And I think as far as Australia, even EU is concerned, even Singapore, compared to what we have in the US, still early days for them. I think still early days. And I think Malaysia has all the opportunity now to, as I mentioned just now, as I said, to jump to the trajectory very fast. If we understand, as long as we understand what exactly we want to achieve. And reason being, because the MQA is already take the lead in providing the GGP. So, laluan telah dibuka. You know, MQA all this while has been seen as kind of a stumbling block. But now, you take the lead. MQA is taking the lead. So now it's up to the institution to take this opportunity. So if everyone is really jump on the bandwagon, easily we can go very fast. And I think the next move, or the next thing that probably MQA can lead is looking at the National Credit Bank, the Tasman mentioned earlier. So if we have that, we can unlock a lot of things, and we can really speed up and accelerate the take-up of micro-credential. The rest, up to the institution. Tasman?
Yeah, my comment is this, okay, before you are talking about co-creating with partners with other countries, things like that, start yourself. I mean, you need to have in your back this experience of doing it. Then the next stage is, can I collaborate with my neighboring institutions? And then you want to look at not just neighbors in the country, but could be region and even beyond, right? Those are all possibilities. And I think the market is not just local; it's also beyond borders. So, but you need to start, and I think a good place to start with your program to the local market. And after that, you can upscale it to as far and wide as you want.
Okay, thanks. Prof. Karim, sambung kan?
No. I mean the upscaling part really is a huge undertaking. Will take time.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Prof. Karim, Prof. Hasman. Okay, next questions. Untuk ini dedicated untuk Dr. Hasman. At your PowerPoint slide at number 30.
That the policy right now does not include, or this all the flexibilities mentioned does not include foundation, and also those programs that are thesis based, like masters by thesis, PhD by thesis. Those are thesis based programs, right? For thesis based programs, it's difficult to break them up because they are a requirement. There's one big requirement, and because for thesis based program, there's not even a credit assigned to it. You know? Under the framework, there's no credit for PhD by research. It's just a requirement. By coursework and things like that, yes. If for coursework, there are units that can be potentially looked at in terms of micro-credential. Foundation as a matter of policy, because there are policies that right now does not allow you to enroll in a foundation if you do not have SPM. Okay, so because micro-credential does not require, right now we say, at the point somebody takes it we don't insist on academic requirements, right? It's only at the point where you once you get the formal qualification, then those come into play. Otherwise, it has an idea of access, right? As long as the candidate is able, willing, and has the minimum prerequisite to actually join the course in terms of literacy or digital literacy or numeracy, then you can actually enroll and take the program, and no issue with that, unless he wants to get the award. Then we need to make sure they have the requirements, FLA or the entry requirement for that particular program. But because foundation has that policy, so we want to make sure the GGP doesn't really run into conflict with existing policy. That's for foundation. For dissertation, master's and thesis dissertation, because the nature of the program, there's no credit, there's no courses, it's one whole chunk, one whole piece, right? At the end, there is an artifact that you produce, and that is the assessment that is evaluated to decide for most of, if not all, the outcomes associated with the program is assessed through that process of producing this, and eventually the product or the outcome of this is a thesis that contains a research that demonstrates many things, right? So that's the reason why this is excluded for now. Maybe later, if we get better, we get then maybe we'll take off.
Okay, thanks Dr. Azman. Okay, untuk soalan seterusnya, if the learner has certification marketing introductions during this CPD task, does this course can be MC recognized on equal naming subjects such as principle of marketing, bachelor business?
I'm having a little bit of difficulty understanding what's the nature of the question. If the learner has...
maybe I'll try to answer this one.
Yeah,
again, it goes back to the basic guiding principles. It's all about the alignment of the outcome, not so much of the name. So for the purpose of marketing, for the purpose of selling the module, let's say this module come from your bigger academic program, from the academic course. But when you package them and you sell it as a professional development program, certificate in something, the name can be different from the original course. I think that's okay, but the learning outcome should be aligned to the course. So that's all about, I mean, it goes back to the alignment of the learning outcome. You know, right, Dr. Azman? You have, I think it's...
Yeah, let me take a shot at this. I think if you have a CPD course right now, I understand it as if there is a CPD course, can this become a micro-credential on equal naming subject and things like that? Yeah, the subject title is not an issue, but it is the degree. The nomenclature of the degree is what we say. Don't say diploma or bachelor's in this, but calling it even a CPD course, you say introduction to marketing. It's not an issue, right? But if you have one that is a CPD for marketing, this is meant for professionals or something like that, and you want to micro-credentialize it as a standalone, and you want to incorporate all the features we talk about here, I think by all means go ahead, right? If you want to give it a digital badge, you want to use my concept of micro-learning, you want to do it online, I think you should go ahead and do it. And if you want to take the CPD course and say, I want to raise the stature of this course and make it equivalent to my course in my bachelor's degree, then you can develop it into a full-blown course that if they take it for CPD, it's okay, fine. If they want to take it and they want to use it later on in the degree program, it's also fine, because it has been designed to also meet that requirement. I think then you're giving the student more value and more options, right? If you just want to do CPD, fine. If you want to do it later on, you want to use this for the degree, also that pathway is open. So I think you're creating more value to the learner, this professional or learner taking CPD. I think that would be a good way to. These are low-hanging fruits. You already got these courses, so really design them and shape them with this value added.
Yeah, I would encourage, I think in the future, when we design any CPD program, ideally, it should come, from our academic program that has been packaged in such a way. I remember I mentioned about make it into thematic, into a theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is standalone, that has value for people. But the outcome, the learning outcome is already mapped to the program outcome. So we don't buat kerja dua kali lah, in other words,
Okay, alright, thanks Prof. Karim. Okay, soalan seterusnya. Will MK audit the implementation or documentation of MC in future? Okay, yang ni biasa jawab lah. Okay, sekarang ni kita meminta PPT yang nak melaksanakan MC akan mengisi Google Form untuk makluman. So actually tujuan dia adalah for our record. So for the next exercise, for accreditations, pemantauan dan sebagainya, kita akan expand our exercise to the MC track lah. So maknanya kita akan interview student, kita akan tengok how the implementation of MC, how the QA system implement dekat MC track dan sebagainya lah. For the kali ni kita macam tu. In terms sebab track untuk MC ni di akhirnya student akan dapat qualification yang sama sebagaimana track student daripada konvensional lah. So at the time itu. Cuma kita dalam perancangan MK kita akan buat satu borang MK 0102 yang sekarang ni kita akan letak addendum for MC lah. Yang itu maknanya those yang ada MC programs, so di selain dia isi yang part C di dalam MK0102 dia akan letak juga addendum for micro credentials. Okay, for the future nanti kita akan pindah borang MK01 dan 02. So certainly yes, kita akan audit semasa accreditation exercise. So maknanya pegawai dan panel akan extend the exercise to the MC track lah. Okay, thanks. Okay, next questions. Can a micro credential have synchronous facilitations? Because yes, it will no longer be personal and learning at own pace. Okay, Prof. Karim ke Prof. Azman?
Go ahead.
Well, just like MOOC, ideally, yes, we are talking about ideal, yeah. Ideally, we want to have some synchronous session as well. Maybe not that many, but the synchronous session can be scheduled in such a way that everyone can be can join in. That would add value. It's all about how we design our micro credential to have great value. So I guess we have to make it in such a way that, to me, the synchronous session is still important to provide more meaningful learning, more meaningful interaction, engagement. But the portion, how much, the percentage of how much is asynchronous would need to be determined based on the nature of the program itself.
My response to this is a program or delivery or an MC which is completely asynchronous, I think doesn't have the personal element already. It may be personalized learning, but that personal element is lost, right? So I think asynchronous allows some degree of personal exchange between, not necessarily between the facilitator and the learner, but also among the learners. So sometimes personalized learning can be a very individualized learning as well. Own pace, own learning, but you are devoid of the crowd, right? So I would take it this way. I think synchronous facilitation would add the personal element to the learning, which may be already personalized. Okay, something to.
Alright. Okay, thanks Prof. Azman. Okay, rasanya kita ada lagi 2 soalan. Okay, soalan seterusnya. Can a pre-university or foundation student take up an MC and use them for credit exemption when they join undergraduate program?
Already answered.
The policy issue is actually taking foundation data blend. I mean, it cannot be used later on, but if he's finished SPM and we're waiting, he was taking a course in diploma, like that. under the GGP, there's no restriction, right? Dia boleh ambil, but not the foundation courses lah.
Yes.
But other courses dia ambil, I mean, SPM students can deal with the diploma course as well. So sementara tunggu result semua tu dia nak ambil courses diploma, yes, under the current one tu memang tak dilarang, boleh.
Okay, okay, thanks Prof. Azman. Okay, soalan yang terakhir Secretary. Okay. This micro-credential tends to focus on academic, lifelong learning, as usually industry will send their employees for training, so some of the topic may be similar. Prof. Azman.
From a marketing standpoint and from a value proposition point, this is the way to go as well for your MCs to become really more marketable, more valuable. It's actually to seek recognition from HRDF, CIDP, many other bodies as part of the CPD. And then and HRDF is particularly attractive because working people, when they take these courses, they can get reimbursement through the employer from HRDF. So these are different things that at different levels of MC you want to look at, and how do I make this more effective, more valuable, more connected? Because once you go to HRDB or CDB, they will want to look at the course and say, does it meet our criteria, right? So in that way, your MCs would become more oriented towards the skills that these agencies are trying to promote on behalf of the industry or employers. So I think that's the natural progression for you. Start and then start connecting with the banking sector, finance sector, with the construction sector, with the HRDF, and also many other groups that are also having CPD requirements, and they may be recognizing or they may be funding. HRDF funds. Some of the others may recognize it. That also adds value. And I think that way the MC really comes of age.
Yeah. Do we have a HRDF people audience in the audience? We had a discussion with HRDF a few weeks ago, and it seems that they are now looking for HRDF training program that is using micro-credential, micro-credential model or micro-credential framework, because now they want people to take courses on HRDF platform. Now they have e-latih platform, and these courses are not simply when the learner completed the course and they get a certificate of attendance, and it doesn't have much meaning. It's not really meaningful. So I think HRDF is looking. I'm not talking from HRDF behalf, but this is what they were telling us. So they are looking for programs that can be, stacked together, bundled together, and finally it can lead to formal qualification if the learners choose to get a formal qualification. So that is more meaningful for the workforce, as part of the knowledge workers agenda for the country.
Okay, thanks Prof. Karim. Saya rasa itu saja Sekretariat. Soalan-soalan yang dimajukan di dalam Pigeon Holes. I think on that note, saya mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada panel yang sudi membentangkan tentang micro-credential pada hari ini. Sebelum kita akhiri webinar kita pada hari ini, ada sedikit makluman daripada Sekretariat. Okay, slide pembentangan kita akan sediakan pautan di laman web MQA kepada especially slide Prof. Azman, kepada PPT yang ingin membuat turun slide-slide tersebut. Okay. Untuk makluman juga, sesi ini kita rekod, dan sekiranya ingin merujuk kembali pembentangan tadi, pihak tuan-puan boleh merujuk di laman YouTube MQA channel untuk melihat kembali sesi webinar ini. Bukan sahaja webinar micro-credential, maknanya webinar sebelum ini yang telah MQA adakan juga kita telah buat naik di laman YouTube MQA channel. Okay. Okay, untuk seterusnya ada juga tadi pertanyaan tentang Google Form tentang pelaksanaan My Credentials yang kita tak jumpa di mana di portal. So actually sebenarnya kita dah upload link tersebut di portal, di banner di depan di depan portal MQA, dan sekiranya tak jumpa juga kita juga sediakan link untuk pemakluman My Credential tu di laman FB MQA lah. Maknanya recently memang kita create link dekat situ, maknanya those PPT yang nak melaksanakan My Credential boleh klik link tu untuk memaklumkan program-program atau kursus-kursus yang dilaksanakan secara micro credentials. So akhir sekali, sekiranya masih lagi ada pertanyaan tentang micro credentials, maknanya minta tuan-puan dapat mengajukan sebarang persoalan kepada bahagian standard di email berikutnya bstd ataupun Bali Spain Thailand Denmark @mqa.gov.my, dan kami akan sedaya upaya untuk membalas email tersebut lah. Okey, saya rasa itu sahaja daripada pihak kami. Kami mengucapkan terima sekali lagi kepada peserta yang hadir pada hari ini, kepada wakil-wakil PPT yang hadir pada pagi ini. Saya rasa itu sahaja daripada MKA. Sekian, terima kasih. Okey.
Okay, thank you.
Terima kasih semua.
Terima kasih semua. Jumpa lagi.
Jumpa lagi.
Kawan-kawan. Thank you, Cik Zamrin.
Thank you, Andy.
Terima kasih, Prof.
Eddie was there. Thank you. Thank you.
Terima kasih, Dr. Eddie. Okay, terima kasih.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.